folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. So I made a video earlier with a couple of guys in it. Some of you probably saw that. I have never had so many questions and kind of negative comments and things from that. And I realized after rewatching it, we weren't clear on some of the things of what we were talking about. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about and you don't care about, potentially using real gold and silver to buy your things that you're buying right now, and you're fine with just using paper currency and going about its life, that's fine, and maybe this video isn't for you. But I want to clarify some things. So please just, if you've watched me for any length of time and you have any, that you like me or that you like the channel or that you have any trust in me whatsoever, just give me a chance to explain things, because I have, any one of you that know me personally, I would hope could say one thing, that I'm very careful about what I say on here, about the information that I put out, because I want to make sure that I'm not giving you information that's incorrect. And I spent several months researching UPMA. I've gotten to know several of the board members, and I've really dug into it. I make $0. I get no kickbacks, no benefits whatsoever from promoting UPMA. I'm only doing it because after all my research, I've realized the gold mine, no pun intended, that UPMA is for folks like us. It's the only thing like it in the United States. There's nothing else like this. And there are some benefits here, but if I just need some patience and some tolerance so that I can get through this and try to explain. I hope I can explain everything. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, but it's possible that this video could go a little longer than normal. But it's because this is important. And if you just be patient with me, we'll try to get through that. The first thing to think of and to understand is the reason why this concept of what this is so difficult for the average American to understand is because we have never seen anything like this in our lifetime. All we know is the typical banking system, and that's been under the Federal Reserve. It's been in existence for over 100 years now, and that's all we've ever known. This concept of actually using gold and silver to go buy your gasoline and to buy your groceries, while you may be able to do it at one particular business that accepts that, it's rare, but it's possible. I'm talking about going to any store in the United States, any store in the world, virtually, not all, but most places. If you went on a trip to Germany or to Ireland or Canada, you could use your money that's in gold and silver to purchase whatever you want: your hotel, your food, your gas, your taxi, anything. And so they have put in a lot of research and a lot of time and a lot of effort. And this isn't for profit. The organization is non-for-profit. It's a membership organization, much like a credit union. The board of directors, they get no money whatsoever. The only people that make any money on a salary type basis or an hourly basis are the employees that run the branches. And yes, they do have physical banks. They have physical branches that they have tellers and everything that you can go in and deposit or withdraw your money. And they have, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they're planning on opening up 4 more this year if all goes as planned. And I'm getting nothing from it, nothing whatsoever. They don't even have a system set up to give me any money. And so just like a credit union, any profits that are made are put back into the members, okay? And so that's the first thing. The second thing that we need to get through is everyone, at least a lot of people, they've gone online to look at the website and they're like, oh, I'm having to buy gold and silver at $37 an ounce for silver. That silver spot price is like $24 an ounce. Number one, you're not buying gold and silver. When you see those spot prices, that's the spot prices of bullion, gold and silver bullion, and it does fluctuate. It's just a commodity. But in the United States, according to our Constitution, gold and silver bullion aren't legal tender. Only coins minted by the U.S. Mint are legal tender. And so when you exchange, and I'll get to that in a second, your Federal Reserve currency into this bank, and they place gold and silver in their vaults, they're placing U.S. minted coins in their vault, not gold bars, not silver bars, U.S. minted coins in their bars, in their vaults. And there's a reason for that, because it's just an exchange. If you want to buy a gold bar, you're buying a commodity. You're buying a gold bar. But this, because it's U.S. minted money and U.S. currency, you're just exchanging. You're exchanging a paper form of U.S. money for a gold or silver form of U.S. money. And so that's what they're putting in there. And that's really how this works. When we talk about how, and I mentioned in the video that you don't have to give your social security number or a business EIN number, anything like that. It's because you're not purchasing anything. You're not purchasing gold and silver and having it stored away in a vault. You're taking your Federal Reserve paper and exchanging it for gold and silver. Now, the whole vault thing brings up something else. A lot of people are saying, well, you can do this all, so what if I vault my money? Yes, there's lots and lots of places that you can vault gold and silver. And you can do that through UPMA, but that's not the real point of what they're doing. A lot of people saying, well, as a prepper, you shouldn't have it. You have to have it in your hand. That's true. And these gentlemen, if I'd asked them that, I guarantee you they would have said that's true also. That's not what this is about. This isn't about, purchasing your gold and your silver that some of you might do for your preps to put away for, to use in bad times. That's not what the point of this is. The point of this is that right now, if you went out and you bought something, okay, or you go online, you go to Amazon or Walmart.com or eBay or any of these online, all the thousands and thousands of online shopping places, you're not using your gold and silver coins that you have stored away in a dirty sock or whatever. You're using Federal Reserve notes that are fiat fake money, totally worthless, that's controlled by the Federal Reserve and the IRS, okay? This is a way to do all those things and not use the Federal Reserve and the IRS right now, not when the SHTF happens, right now, okay? You want to still have a bag of silver dimes or whatever tucked away for bartering purposes and stuff, that's fine. That's not what this is. This is using gold and silver right now, and it's outside of the Federal Reserve System. It's outside of the IRS, the taxation, the Social Security number. It's outside all of that, okay? That's part of the big deal about this, that you can go and you take your Federal Reserve money, okay, the currency, Federal Reserve currency, you open an account with them, and you give it to them. You can give them physical. You can go there in person, give them physical. You can wire transfer from your Federal Reserve bank into them. You can use a debit card. There's all kinds of ways. We covered that in the video. And then they take that Federal Reserve currency, and they exchange it through gold and silver exchange systems, and they convert it over to gold and silver, your choice, and they put it in a vault. And that's yours. That's your physical money. Your physical gold and silver is in that vault in U.S. minted coins. And then you can get a debit card, a real, genuine Visa debit card. And if you want to go put gas in your car, you can call them up or email them or use your web portal or whatever. Excuse me. And you can say, hey, I need to add $50 to that card, because you can't just, there's no way to use that card with it has to be, you have to take the physical and convert it to a digital form to put on that card. So you have to contact them, and you can do it once a month, or you can do it every other day, or whatever you want, and say, I need you to put $50 on my card because I need to go put gas in my tank. And then they take $50 of your gold, and they liquidate it. They sell it, basically. They liquidate it. And then they put that on your card, and you go do your business, buy whatever you're buying. But your wealth, the value, your money is being held there in gold and silver. So that's a big difference, okay? It's not some kind of scam. It's not a multi-level marketing scam. It's not a pyramid scam. It's nothing like that. They're just holding that in there. There is a small monthly fee for this, and this pays the bills. They have to, he said they spent over $250,000 just building the vault. They have to pay for this kind of stuff, okay? And so the vaulting fee, and that's what it's called. It's called a vaulting fee because it's not a bank technically in a FDIC, Federal Reserve sense. So you're charged a small vaulting fee. It's usually around $4 a month, and that's the keep your account open, okay? And you can, use your money, okay? I want to, and I know I'm probably missing things, and I'm really trying to remember. I had some notes here, but I know there were several questions of people that had questions, and I'm going to do something here that probably a lot of you are going to tell me is a real bad choice, and I'm going to do it just for transparency and to help maybe show you some stuff. I'm going to show you my UPMA account, how many millions and millions of dollars that I have in my UPMA account. This is my wife and I have an account with them. I'll go ahead and take myself out of the picture because I'm covering part of it up. All right. So right here, it says estimated U.S. dollar value. So the gold and the silver that I have in UPMA, its estimated U.S. dollar value is $217.12. Now, I will get to that number here in a minute. Now, you can see here you've got silver and gold. So when you send money into them, if you send $100 to them, you can choose whether to have it put in gold and silver or $10 in gold, $90 in silver, whatever you want. And so some of mine is in silver and some of it's in gold. Right over here is the exchange rates, but and people get down here, this is where they're like, oh, well, spot is selling is for 24. This is not spot. This is not bullion. This is actual U.S. silver dollars. And if you went and you looked up what you would pay right now for a U.S. silver dollar, a silver eagle, it's around $38, okay? A gold eagle or a gold buffalo is about $2,000, a little bit more than $2,000. And so that's what this is based on. It has to be. It has to be. And you're not losing money. If it was based on spot price, you would still have the same Federal Reserve U.S. dollar value over here. It doesn't matter if they said, oh, well, it's $100. It has to be based on U.S. currency, U.S. dollars, U.S. coin, minted from the U.S. Mint, constitutional, not bullion, not bars, not nuggets. It has to, for this to legally function, it has to be based upon U.S. money, because your silver dollar and your U.S. dollar are both, the paper money, are both legal tender in the United States, okay? Whether you like it or not, it's true. And so that's why you see this. But it doesn't mean that you're paying a higher rate for it, because in the end, you still have $217. You just may have less of these coins, okay, in your account. But you still have $217. It doesn't matter, regardless. Now, people talk about, well, the price of gold and silver fluctuates. Well, the price of gold and silver does not fluctuate. The value of the U.S. dollar currency fluctuates. And so that's what you're seeing here. So when the U.S. dollar, that Federal Reserve note, goes down in value, gold and silver go up in value. And while they may fluctuate day to day, in the long term, you're always, always, always going to win with gold and silver. If you bought gold and silver coins 50 years ago, you would have a whole lot more Federal Reserve value in them than you would 50 years ago. So over here, I have deposited in the last, 4 or 5 months that I've had my account, a total of $200 US in my account. But yet you see it says $217.12. That's because it's reflective of gold and silver going up. And over the last few months, gold and silver has gone up. I think when I first started this, the spot price of silver was like $16 or $17, and it's now $24. And so this number here of a U.S. minted coin would also reflect that difference. You can see here, this gray is the silver and the yellow is the gold. So if you put money in back here at $35, if you put U.S. dollars in, and then now it's at $37, you would have increased the value, the U.S. dollar Federal Reserve value of your account. The same amount of gold and silver is in there. That's not changed. But how much Federal Reserve notes are that you can spend does change. And if tomorrow silver crashed and it went down to $15 an ounce, yes, this US dollar amount would change, but the amount of gold and silver in my account would not change. It does not change. It's the same. Over here on the left, you can see you can deposit, you can withdraw, all this kind of stuff. The leasing, everyone was kind of getting weirded out by the leasing. This is, if I had, and I haven't looked into it much, but if I had, this $200 and I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to authorize you to take my $217, which is, 4.44 silver dollars and 1.31 gold dollars, not gold ounces, gold dollars, because a gold dollar is 1/50th of an ounce, because a 1 ounce gold coin is technically in US dollars $50. So if I said, I want you to take this amount and I want you to, you can use it, you can invest it, and that's what they do. They invest it, and then I get a return off of that. So it's a way for me to make a little money, and I don't have access to it. It's like taking your Federal Reserve money and going to the bank and buying a CD, and you put it in there for 6 months, a 6-month investment. You don't have access to that. It's your money, but you agree by contract to not have access to that for 6 months so that they can go invest it, and at the end of 6 months, you get it back plus some interest. It's the same way. That's what all this leasing is. They have to use different terms. Any of you that have been involved and know anything about herbal medicine and natural medicine and all that kind of stuff, you would know that you have to use different language, different terms. It means the same, but you have to use different terms. Down here, this is my debit card. I can show you this because the number's all X'd out, and this is where I would add, if I wanted to take $50 out of this and add to this little debit card, then I can do that. So there's the account that you can see, and I mean there's nothing else that that's secretive. That's just how it is, okay? And I put in a little bit every month, and we can use this. We can use it for anything. That's the whole point. You can use it for anything. It's not some kind of scam. A lot of people, and I messed up, I guess, on this in the first video, is not explaining that while this definitely can be a good long-term prepper kind of thing, it's really meant for right now. It's really meant for right now. As the dollar is dropping, so between, say, today and the day that the entire economy and everything crashes, between that now and then, as the dollar continues to lose value, which means gold and silver continue to go up, if you took $10,000 and put it in there right now, a year from now, as long as everything's not completely collapsed, it's just gotten worse, your $10,000 has increased in overall value because the value of gold and silver, well, they haven't gone up. It's because the value of the US dollar has gone down, okay? It's like inflation. We hear this 8, 10%, 15%, 20% inflation. It doesn't mean that goods and stuff have gone up in value. They don't. In fact, inflation never existed. No one even knew this concept of inflation until the Federal Reserve came around. And it's not because, this bottle of water is worth more than it was a year ago. It's because the dollar, the US dollar that I used to buy this bottle of water, is worth less. So it costs me more US dollars to buy this. That's all inflation is. And this is a hedge against that inflation because you're taking whatever you have right now, if you were to do it right now, whatever Federal Reserve notes, US dollars you have right now, and you're exchanging it for gold, and then later on, a month from now or whatever, when the US dollar drops a little bit more and they say, oh, inflation went up again because the US dollar's value went down, the value that you have, the amount of gold and silver you have in your account stays the same. It doesn't fluctuate up and down. And then what it will do is it will reflect in this number here, that $217, it would be higher. Even though the amount of gold and silver in my account would be the exact same, it would reflect as a higher number because the US dollar is now worth less. That's the big point to this. Now, trying to answer some other questions. Is it good for long term? Well, it can be. It can be. And then people are saying, yeah, well, is it as safe and secure? It's as safe as secure as any bank, probably more, but as safe as secure as any bank. It's fully 100% dollar for dollar insured by Lloyd's of London, which has been around since 1688. They are the premier insurance agency on the planet. The hoops and hurdles that you have to jump through to be insured through them is just absolutely ridiculous. And so if Lloyd's of London collapses and is no longer functional, then pretty much I'd say the whole economy is going to be that way too, the whole global economy for that matter. They are the creme de la creme of insurance, okay? And so that's who they have. They had to go through some pretty big hurdles just to get that insurance, to make sure that their vault was secure, that their whole system, they come and audit them regularly to make sure that everything is above board. And so when you have your U.S. dollars exchanged and go into their account, and it shows that you have four silver coins, they go in there and they look and they say, oh, well, Travis Maddox on the paperwork, it says he has 4 silver coins. Oh, yep, they're right there. That's how it works, okay? It's dollar for dollar insured. And then there's people like, well, eventually, the economy will collapse and the grid will go down. It's possible. Those things are possible. And if they do, if all those bad things happen, then your money that's in your bank's worthless anyways. No one is suggesting at any moment to take the silver coins that you have under your bed or in your closet that's for those, bad things. No one's suggesting you take those. I mean, you can, but no one's suggesting that you take those and go deposit it in UPMA. I certainly haven't, and I'm not going to. I have no plans to. But if you want to take the money out of your bank account, or at least part of your bank account, and transfer it over to there so that you can buy your stuff, you can do that. If you want to buy guns and ammo and not be, looked down as much because it's not attached to your Social Security number. It's not attached to any kind of EIN. Any gains that you get from having your Federal Reserve converted into gold and it's grown, it's not taxable. They don't send out any 1099s or anything like that. They don't have to. There's no law. It's not like they're doing something naughty and suspicious. There's no law because you're just taking your your U.S. money and exchanging it for U.S. money. It just happens that one's paper and one's gold. But according to the law, because it's U.S. minted coins, not bullion, U.S. minted coins, there's no capital gains on that, okay? There's no capital gains on that because you've just exchanged for one official U.S. money dollar for another official accepted lawful money. That's all. That's all you've done. Now, have they found a loophole in the system? Well, yeah, of course, and that's why it's working, and that's why it's so special. But the fact is, it's all above board. It's all legal. Okay, trying to think of some other because I know there was a lot of. I even look at this. I printed these are the comments when I left the video. There's 15 pages here of comments. CBDC. Here's the thing on CBDC. I did mention that it was a way to avoid it. It's a way to avoid it in the beginning. Eventually, I believe, and many believe, that CBDCs will absolutely be forced upon us by government, whether you want to call it the beast system or the New World Order or whatever. I believe that it will be forced upon us and that there will be no way around it, that you'll either have to live in a cave in the woods or you'll have to use it. But I also believe, because of just how things are going, that there will be a transition period. That it won't be one day we have the Federal Reserve note, the paper dollar, and it's fine. And the next day they're holding a gun to your head because you have to use CBDC. I believe there's going to be a transition period. This can work during that transition period. As long as businesses are still allowed, and according to right now they can, they would have to do some major changes of laws, which of course they could, and I believe they eventually will. But for right now, you use a debit card. Okay, and this is a debit card. And as far as the business is concerned, as long as that debit card clears, it's fine. They have already talked about, I can't confirm these things. I know that the board and the UPMA has talked about that if CBDCs do get implemented, that how they will take your gold and silver, liquidate it, and then convert it to CBDC through them. So it's not directly connected to you. It's the UPMA exchanging it into a CBDC and then applying that to your debit card. Now, of course, at some point, they're going to force this on us, and you're going to have to get it in your hand or your forehead, or you're going to have to live in the woods. Once that happens, it doesn't matter anymore, okay? Once that happens, then we know that all lines have been crossed. Every line in the sand has been crossed. This is to help you beforehand. And you say, yeah, but I'll lose all my money. You'll lose the money you have in your bank anyways, okay? You'll lose that money. I mean, I don't keep a lot of money in any bank. You saw how much I kept in UPMA, so I'm not keeping a lot of money in there. I try to do other things with it, but the most of the money that we keep in the bank is just our daily living expenses. And we know that at any point, if it crashes or CBDC is forced on us, that whatever's in that bank is probably gone. Okay? We just lost it. At least this way, you can use it a little bit longer. You could go pay your property taxes. That's a lot of people that are like, well, if the system is still kind of there, but they're making us use CBDC, how could we pay our property taxes? Like if we were paid out of debt, we still have to pay property taxes. It's very possible that this will be the one. Now, of course, CBDCs aren't implemented yet, so we don't fully know. But based on what we're hearing, based on what they're hearing, they believe that at least for a while, you will still be able to use debit cards. And so they will be able to make that exchange, put it on that debit card, and so you could go pay your property taxes. Even though you personally don't own any CBDCs. All your money is in gold and silver. Those are the real benefits of this, okay? It's not, no, I would absolutely, if anyone asked, I would recommend do not take your physical gold and silver and go put it in here. Take your Federal Reserve notes out of your bank and put at least some of them in there. And there's not a real risk there. I mean, I saw in the comments, everyone was like, oh, well, FDIC is safer. You're really putting your trust in the government? I mean, really? There's been a lot of people lose a lot of money over the years in banks, when banks go bust, okay? This FDIC thing, it's very scammy. You dig into it. Look into the FDIC insurance. It's pretty scammy. The odds are, if it all come crashing down, you're not getting your money. They only are required to insure 2% of their total overall holdings. So however much money that the FDIC, however much in the accounts, however many accounts, and what are the total value of all the accounts that the FDIC insures, only 2% of it are they required to insure. So let's just make up some numbers. Let's say there is $1 million total. Of course, there's billions and trillions of dollars, but let's just say, so it's easy for my small mind to figure it out, that there's $1 million total in all U.S. bank accounts. The total balance of all U.S. bank accounts is $1 million. They only are technically insured for 2% of that, okay? 2%. So we're talking $200,000 is all they insure. That's all the insurance that they hold, the policy. And so if all those banks collapse, so all $1 million, the fake number that we're coming up with, collapses at the same time, they're only going to pay out 2%. So whatever you have in your account, you may claim it's FDIC insured, but if everything collapsed, the most you would ever get is about 2% total. That's just how FDIC insurance works. Now, if just that one bank collapses, then it's very likely that they could pay out the full amount of your account, up to $100,000 or $250,000, depending on the account. But don't believe that FDIC insurance is going to save you, folks. I'm not telling you have to do this. I'm not advising you have to do this. And I know I'm coming across very passionate. It's certainly not because I have anything to gain. I have zero, nothing, nada to gain from this. No monetary gain. In fact, I've already lost subscribers. People thought that I was trying to push some kind of MLM, scammy kind of thing. It's not that at all. And so I've already lost subscribers. All I'm trying to do is explain to you and show you and get you to kind of, listen at something that has a great potential of being something that you and I could continue doing business a little bit longer. Maybe not forever. Maybe not through all the end of all this stuff that's going to happen. but at least a little bit longer. Under the cover of this, we could do business a little bit longer and not get watched and spied upon. And you could do business right now with gold and silver. Part of it, I've had people ask, well, what's the real benefit? Well, number one, it's just the peace of mind of knowing that I am not using this fake, evil system of fiat money, this debt-based fiat money system. It's evil. It's pure evil. How our money system, that's probably the root of all of our big problems, is because of this fiat money system. And you'd be doing business like normal, but being outside of that system. So there's just the peace of mind of that. The other thing is that you're not going to get any capital gains, pay any capital gains taxes on anything that you earn. But the big thing for me is that my money is inflation proof. So, if inflation goes up another 10% or 20%, which means the value of your U.S. dollar is worth 10 or 20% less, okay, the money that you have in the bank doesn't change because it's based on gold and silver. And you say, how? Again, I'm going to explain this again because this seems to be a little point. Let's go back over. Open this back up. This is my account, mine and my wife's account. Again, let me show you. See here, it says silver dollar. I have 4.44 silver dollars in their bank, totaling $165.47. And I have 1.31 gold dollars, totaling $51.65. So if inflation goes up and the U.S. dollar value drops, the amount of gold dollars and silver dollars that I have in here does not change. It's the exact same. But if I wanted to take those gold and silver dollars and exchange them or liquidate them and turn them into Federal Reserve notes, it would be higher than this number right here because gold would be at that point, because of the U.S. dollar dropping, gold and silver would be worth even more than what they are now. This is just how it works. It's economics. And so when you look at this silver dollar, a U.S. minted silver eagle sells for like around $38 right now. It may be worth $50 or even $100. And so it would make the estimated U.S. dollar value of my account be higher than what it is right now. That's how it protects you against inflation. So even though the prices of whatever you're buying is gone up because of inflation, you have more U.S. dollars now to buy with it, and so it balances itself out. I don't know if that makes sense. Again, I'm not trying to push anything on you. I hate selling things. In case, I get people complain when I do mention an affiliate account, but I don't mention them very often. And this is certainly not an affiliate account. I'm only talking about this because after hours and hours and hours of research, I fully believe, and I can see nothing, and I'm skeptical as you'll find. I'm a doubting Thomas. I am very skeptical. I question everything over and over again. And I cannot find anything wrong with this. I believe that it is what they claim it is. It's a legitimate bank, folks. We got to get our heads out of this that, we're buying gold and that the value of gold doesn't change. It's the value of the U.S. dollar that changes. 2,000 years ago, during Jesus' time, a 1-ounce gold coin at that time would have approximately purchased a suit that they wore during the Roman time period, which was their cloaks, their nice linen cloaks, a nice pair of sandals, a nice leather belt, the typical upper middle class attire for a man. A 1-ounce gold coin, 1 ounces of gold would have purchased that. This, you can look it up in history. This is a fact. Prior to the Federal Reserve, when we had a true gold-backed system, back in the, let's say, the turn of the century, 1900, a 1-ounce gold coin was worth $50, and you could have gone and bought a decent suit and tie and shoes and belt. I've looked it up, for the approximate amount of 1 ounce of gold. And today, if you wanted to buy a full business attire, nice, not cheap, junky stuff, but nice, not the really, really high end, probably like what Donald Trump wears, but just a nice one. Nice pair of shoes, nice belt, nice tie, nice shirt, nice suit. You're going to pay around $2,000 for that. 1 ounce gold coin will buy the same suit, the equivalent of the same suit, over the last 2,000 years. The value of gold and silver does not change. It's the value of the paper currency in relation to that that changes, and we have to get that through our head. We can't be looking at it, well, we're buying it for this price now and this price that's gone up. Gold doesn't go up. Silver doesn't go up. Your paper money goes up and down. It's what's fluctuating. And so that's part of the confusion in this. Maybe I've explained things better. Maybe I haven't. I would, if there's more questions, ask. I'll do my best to answer those questions. But I'm most certainly not making any money. A lot of people had tons and tons of comments. People, very negative comments saying, oh, this is some kind of scam you're working. No, I never have before. I'm certainly not now. I absolutely don't make a ton of money on even doing YouTube. And a pretty good portion of what I make ends up going back into building this community and helping others out. And that's not to pat me on the back. It's just what we do. It's what my family and I do. We're my wife gets on to me. You're helping other people out so much that you've neglected some of the stuff here at the house. And that's the truth. I'm doing this because I believe in my heart this is a good thing for us. That this is, it's not going to take care of all the problems. And it's not going to take care of your money and economic problems all the way through to the complete collapse and desolation. No, but it may extend that time out just a little bit before you get to the point to where it's all kind of just gone to doo-doo. That's the big point of this. And even if that extension is only a year or two, it's not costing you anything. It doesn't cost you anything. I mean, yes, there's a vaulting fee, which is just like a bank service fee. And I know some banks it's free, but most banks it's not anymore. And this one is really tiny. It's like $4 for most people. It's all based on the amount that you have in it. But most people, it's probably going to be around $4 for the average account a month. But you can go buy your gasoline, you can go buy your groceries, you can pay your bills, anywhere that you can use a Visa card. Anywhere that you can use a Visa card, which is nearly everywhere now, you can use this money. And you can do it right now. You can't do it that with the gold and silver that's in your possession, which is good. You should have that. But I'm talking about this. Don't compare this to the gold and silver coins you have under your bed in a shoebox. Compare this to your current bank account. That's what you need to be comparing it to. And the peacefulness of knowing that your money is inflation proof, that it's not being taxed, and just the fact that you're not part of that evil Federal Reserve System. Folks, I hope I've explained it somewhat. If I haven't, just ask, and I'll do the best that I can. It's not something. It only seems like a scam because we're also skeptical of, I still said it wrong, of all the stuff that's going on. And this is so different than what we're used to because we've never experienced it before. Way before the Federal Reserve, before fractional banking and stuff. This is how banking existed. I mean, this is how it existed. The only difference is now we have this technology that we can give you a debit card, as opposed to, back in the old days, your gold was in the local vault bank, and you would write little IOU checks, and then they could go and they exchange those checks for physical gold. It's all debit card. But it's only because this concept of actual gold and silver being real money has just escaped most people because we've never grown up around it, and they don't teach it in school. They don't teach it in college. They don't want you to know this stuff. This is these dark secrets they don't want you to know. And I'm not telling you to go out and set up an account. I'm saying just do some research. Just dig into it. Do some research and see what you find. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.